Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, everything's set in stone. Now it's all about the wait. 13 days of it until Super Bowl 58. San Francisco opened up as a 2-point favorite. It's already down to 1. A lot of early Kansas City money pouring in. Your total, 47.5. The matchup coming up in Las Vegas. And you can continue to dream. Jacksonville remains one of 12 teams out of the 32 in the NFL who has never won a Super Bowl. Detroit had an opportunity yesterday to go from 4 to 3 as far as teams who have never been to a Super Bowl. We know the two longstanding organizations, Cleveland and Detroit, have yet to go. And, of course, in the AFC South, a couple of new franchises, both Jacksonville and Houston, have yet to get into a Super Bowl. But it's there, and that's what it's all about, right? One of these days it's going to happen, as Blondie wrote, right? Dreaming. Dreaming is free, and it is. And it's a wonderful thing, whether you daydream, whether you night dream. And I'm one of those who's kind of lucid with my dreams. I know that I'm dreaming. I can take my dreams with me. I can make myself bigger in my dreams. I can do things in my dreams that I know I could never do in real life. And it's actually a whole heck of a lot of fun. But it's going to happen, Jacksonville. And I hope to be here with you when it does happen. One of these days, you are going to be able to say the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to the Super Bowl. And this offseason, again, is going to be one of the greatest that this organization has ever seen. There's just so many mammoth moves that needs to be made. And we're going to keep you updated here nightly with the bulky files and the moves that he makes. We won't know if they can be, in fact, graded upon immediately. Typically, the only way you would know that is if you're bringing in a free agent who's done some really good things in the league, or you re-sign a current player here who's done some really good things in the league. And obviously that's the case when you look at a Josh Allen. Then you drop it quite a bit when you get to Calvin Ridley. If I threw out Ridley, and I have a few times, it's about 50%. Sign him long-term, sign him. You can't put a franchise tag on Calvin Ridley. The guy needs to practice. That was proven this year, this past season, with the entire miscommunication that happened with this football team. But it is going to be very interesting, no doubt about it. Yesterday, just an amazing comeback by San Francisco. And we're in such a time where criticism happens immediately. And, Dan Campbell made decisions that were costly, and he's taken the punch. He's not making any excuses. Obviously, you got to go for a field goal. Those 2 second-half opportunities, both times to go for it on fourth down, ended up really hurting this football team. And then the mammoth fumble by Gibbs with 3:15, or make that 5:15 to go in the third quarter. You had to drop passes. You had at least 2 bad penalties I can think of. You had kind of the freak scenario where it hit a Detroit Lions face mask and went back to Ayuk. I mean, it just seems like that was almost comparable to like a David Tyree against the New England Patriots, or a Mario Manningham against the New England Patriots. I mean, it's things like that that do happen in huge games, this case an NFC Championship, that you can't foresee, you can't predict. It just happens. I mean, San Francisco down 17. They're done. It's over. And then all of a sudden you allow 27 unanswered points. And San Francisco does advance now to knock off Detroit, and will now take on Kansas City. And this is star-powered football. For the record, I thought it would be Baltimore. I did. And they really reared their ugly head. I know they're going crazy right now in that city, but a lot of really undisciplined play by the Baltimore Ravens. Some brutally some brutal penalties that just cost them with the game on the line, and you can't do that. So Patrick Mahomes, he's beginning now to really head into the type of territory that we've only seen once, historically speaking, in the NFL, doing what Tom Brady did very early on in New England. Of course, Brady was able to do it with a really good second link as well with the Patriots. How much longer is this thing going to stay together, win or lose for Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes? If they do win it in Super Bowl 58, is that the end of the road for Andy Reid? Is that the end of the road for Kelsey and some others? I mean, we talked about Chris Jones last week on the program. He's going to want to get paid. He did this year, making $25 million after all the incentives. But winning is important, but it's not everything to all of these guys. Making the most amount of money, I think, is just as important, if not more important, in a lot of set of scenarios. And if you're winning another Super Bowl and winning your third in the last, half dozen years, I think the opportunity to move on and either call it a career, do some other things, or perhaps go to another organization and make some money is probably what a lot of these guys are going to do. Hey, for what it's worth with the Super Bowl, all right, and we had a conversation about this before airtime. Everything changes. I don't like change. I'm a normal guy who likes normal things, simple things. And it's like everything changes. You get the NHL All-Star Weekend coming up, and, there's 3 games here and 11 skaters. And and it's not like the old days when, you just put 2 teams out there and the final would be 15-14 because there's no defense and there's very little goaltending, and it's just guys teeing off on one another. Well, we're going to make a change there. And, you make a change with the players, which should be in March, should be in May. No, we're going to put it in March. We're going to put it there. And you and I know we're a month and some change away. But there's no way they're going to get 4 rounds in March, and it's going to go off and be completed the way that everyone around the PGA Tour thinks it is going to be. We're going to have rain delays. We're going to have cancellations. It happens every single year in March, right? You're going to take off. You're going to bring the family on a Thursday. You're going to see 3 holes, and the heavens are going to open up, and the rains are going to come, and then all of a sudden you're going to hear that, you can't go there, you can't do this, you can't. And instead of just keeping it in May, when it was perfect, when no one complained, and I do understand that way back when it used to be in March and then changed. But anyway, that's another example of change, right? What's changing? I mean, why would you keep the PAT in the NFL where it's always been? Let's make this a big deal now and push it way back. So now it's legitimately a point after attempt in a situation where you could miss it, right? What's changed that? All right, so everything's changed. You know what hasn't? Super Bowl 58, okay? I don't know when I learned about Roman numerals, but as far as I'm concerned, I sat here for like 5 minutes trying to figure out what Super Bowl it was, because you drop in, what is it? It's Super Bowl 58. Let me actually look this up. Do you have it in front of you over there, JJ? I know we were just talking about before we went on the air. Super Bowl 58 is LV111. It's stupid. Why do we still have numeral whatever for a Super Bowl? Okay? There's nothing remotely, comparative that you can use Roman numerals with the Super Bowl. And, I'm just trying to figure out how many Super Bowls we've had in our lifetime. And all of a sudden I look at it as 1, 2, 3. But nothing is given to you the way that it is supposed to be. And why the Roman numerals continuously here with the Super Bowl, as far as I'm concerned, it's one thing that should change. And where else do you use Roman numerals? All right? It's like everything else that I learned. I saw this thing that came in today that blew me away. It was a survey here in Jacksonville, which I want to get into if I do have time here in a little bit. And it said that 41.3% of Jacksonville's business owners never went to college, okay? It's the 15th most in the United States of America. Nearly half of the business owners in this town never went to school, okay? And then you take someone like me who went to school and learned and studied, and I forgot all of this crap, but then it comes to simple math, and you have things that you learned, and you had things that you understand, and to this day still, to some set of circumstances, use when it comes to simple addition and subtraction. But everything outside study, mathematically speaking, I have no idea what I learned in calculus, algebra, algebra 2, trig. Looking at my daughter's homework 20 some odd years later, and they're like, Daddy, can you help me here? And I'm like, no, I cannot help you. I'm sorry. When I actually went to school, I had an idea what it was, but I never used it once in my life. And I don't believe that I'll ever use it once in my life. Yet that is the system that we are in, right? It's about challenging your mind. They're not saying to you as teachers, they're not saying to you as a head of school systems and superintendents of schools. It's not about learn this and retain it because you're going to need to use it in your life. It's let's try to confuse these kids. Let's see which ones can handle it. Then they'll move to the next level. They'll go to the next whatever it may be. And again, they're never going to use it, but we just want to be able to identify who's got it as far as book smarts and who doesn't have it as far as book smarts. Am I wrong? I mean, is there any one of you out there that has ever used any of this math? I mean, when you're an architect, do you use it? When you are a professional in a field of being any type of a doctor, do you use it? When you are building homes and you are laying pipe and you are putting on new roofs and you're paving roads, do you use it? Okay? Because I never did. But it was such a big deal. And it includes the freaking Super Bowl. Why the Roman numerals? It's not traditional. It's not something that we need or something that you look forward to, right? I mean, I'm not even allowed to say Super Bowl party. Okay? That's how greedy the NFL is. That's Shad Khan and the 31 other owners. There's so much greed that they won't even let you say that you're attending a Super Bowl party. Okay? Yet they put these stupid Roman. I'm telling you, it took me 5 minutes to figure out what Super Bowl was coming up. Maybe I'm the only one with this problem. Perhaps I'm not. Either way, you can let us know. The best way to get a hold of us is on the text line at 641-1010, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. All right, coming up tonight, we got a lot of good things to do, and I'm looking forward to this conversation with Sammy Smith. I haven't spoken to Sammy in quite some time. He was an unbelievable athlete. He was a mixture of power and speed. I mean, he was 6'2", 226 at Florida State. This man ran track with Deion Sanders and Dexter Carter. But for those Florida State fans who are there, who are old enough to remember, he was a true superstar. All right. When I got to Florida State's campus in 1987, he and Deion Sanders were the two legitimate stars at that university. Now, Deion Sanders obviously was a totally different animal in self-promotion. And to this day, he's one of the greatest of all time. As a matter of fact, during that tenure of the mid-'80s into the late 80s, I don't think there's ever been two better self-promoters than Deion Sanders and Brian Bosworth. They really changed the entire landscape of college football and what they did. But there's been a lot of, I think, misinformation over the years on Deion, that Deion is a bad guy, that Deion was a trash talker. He was never that way. What Deion Sanders always did was he spent his time promoting himself. Not talking bad about others, but promoting himself. And 5-6 years ago, he came in here and he spoke to the Jaguars and he called out Jalen Ramsey with that. He's like, Jalen, your problem is that you're calling out Josh Allen. You're calling out these teams. You're calling out these quarterbacks. That's not the way it works. Instead, spend your time promoting yourself. So I do. I think to this day, it remains one of the biggest missed stories when it comes to identifying a player. You go to a bar room right now and bring up Deion Sanders, the guy next to you is going to tell you he was a trash talker. And, he talked crap about other players. He never did. He promoted himself. Sammy Smith was a totally different situation. He was kind of a silent assassin. You never really heard anything from Sammy Smith. He was kind of unassuming. He was kind of lethargic, right? It was like, get Sammy up, let's get Sammy ready today. Sammy, you got to play today. You got Tulane. You got a chance to get the ball 10 times and run it for 230 yards. Are you interested? Sammy, there's a big game coming up against Florida. Can we get you motivated for this one? That's the feeling that you had with Sammy Smith. A great Sammy Smith was absolutely unstoppable. I mean, a powerful engine running downhill. I mean, a bona fide, really big back. And I'm not talking about a Pete Johnson, or I'm not talking about an Ironhead Haywood or a Nigerian Knight. I'm talking about a guy who could run. He was on the track team, as I said. He was in that the 4-team relay with Dion and Dexter Carter. This man could run, but I think, and I'm going to ask him, coming up, did you give it your all? He still went high in the first round to Miami and then went over to Denver. He had a really bad fumbling problem. I mean, he was the 9th overall pick in the 1989 draft by the Miami Dolphins, and they really thought he was going to be a savior there. But that's the thing that was always really interesting to me. I look at all the great backs at Florida State, and I think the most disappointing, in my opinion, will probably always be either Lorenzo Booker or Marquette Smith. Marquette Smith just got beat out by better players, all right, namely Warrick Dunn. Lorenzo Booker had it all. And Billy Sexton's system then of rotation didn't work well. Leon Washington, I thought, was the better back, and Anton Smith came in. But whatever, it was just kind of a messed up situation at that point for Florida State. If you look at Booker's numbers, they were good. They were adequate, but he was supposed to be a star. He was supposed to be better than Travis Minor. He was supposed to be better than Leon Washington, better than Dexter Carter, better than Amp Lee, better than Sean Jacks, better than all these backs, right? And you were going to battle. And I'm not going back to the Allen days or stuff before I got there. But to this day, Dalvin Cook's the best back. Number 2's Warrick Dunn. And then you can really trade punches on who is the 3rd best back that FSU has ever had. Sammy Smith is in that conversation. And when it's talent only, he had more talent than Warrick Dunn. I can't say he had more than Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was just a freak. And Dalvin Cook ran behind a really, really poor offensive line. That began that really long period of time where Florida State's offensive line was just awful. And Dalvin Cook, you went from Devontae Freeman, who did some nice things on a good NFL line. All of those players made it to the NFL. No superstardom out of it. Stork won an MVP. Stork, as a center, went from winning a national championship to being a rookie, winning a Super Bowl with the New England Patriots. And, Irving is still in the league. Some others kind of came and went. But after that, in Devontae Freeman, despite the success of Dalvin Cook and Cam Akers, the offensive line has really, really gone down. But in my world, he's the 3rd best running back to ever play at Florida State, behind Cook and behind Dunn. But again, if you size it up with talent only, it was like Tamarick Vanover before he got fat. Just think about what Tamarick Vanover could have been like if his head was in it and he wasn't involved in other things as a wide receiver. For those of you who do not know, he spent 7 years in jail, did Sammy Smith, He was hit on a big case which involved, distributing cocaine, and he went away. He has written a book now, and I'm going to allow him to explain this. It's all about, recovery, just really a second opportunity at life. And I haven't seen the book yet. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if it's out yet. But I got with Sammy, and I believe you can pre-order it. We may even be at the point now where it actually is in bookstores. We'll find that coming up in a little bit with Sammy Smith. But I think you'll enjoy this because for those who, again, around my age, maybe a little bit longer in the tooth, you've been in this state for a while, you've been a big football fan for a while. Sammy Smith, absolutely. Florida State and then into the NFL, he was a big deal. And that was a career that came to a crashing end, unfortunately, long before when it should have. So that's coming up here in just a little bit as well. Looking forward to talking to Sammy Smith. All right, opening comments tonight and every night brought to you by Shmunez Vision. Dr. Neil Shmunez and I go way back. And, one of my first meetings with him when I got back into town, actually, it wasn't one of my first meetings. It was a little bit after that. But just visiting him one day, it was a normal eye examination, which I've continuously do, at least a couple times a year. Sometimes I visit more if I'm concerned that my vision is bothering me or whatever. Is that ever an issue for you? You just kind of wake up one day and you're like, my vision's out of line. My vision's out of whack. And, you're wondering if it's allergies. You're wondering if it's the change in the weather. Maybe you're wondering if it's something more significant than that, like maybe an issue with a cataract. So I went in one day not feeling anything out of the norm. And he's like, bro, you got an issue. Your right eye. We got to get this thing taken out of there tomorrow. So this is part of what they are all about, okay? We're talking about total commitment in everything that includes medical and surgical eye care. I didn't have to go looking for another doctor or someone to do this. The very next day, he went in and removed what needed to be removed inside my right eye. Okay, Dr. Catherine Shmunez, fellowship trained in cornea cataract surgery. Combined, the two has more than 30 years worth of experience when it comes to laser eye surgery. So no matter what it is and what your situation may be, I want you to check them out online. Just go to shmunezvision.com. That is shmunezvision.com. Care you can see. All right, tons to do tonight. No doubt about it. Let's get this week started off the right way. What a weekend for games in the NFL. A little bit of downtime now before the Super Bowl. But everything that is going on, we're going to hit here tonight and throughout the next couple of weeks until Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. Also coming up in 20 minutes, we'll talk with Sammy Smith. He's got a brand new book that is out.
More Jaguars. More Gators. More sports talk for Jacksonville. 1010XL. When you want more.
The Players is proud to support the Zellner Foundation on their mission to empower Northeast Florida military veterans.
We empower them to improve their mental health through the sport of golf. 43 days to go.
New and pre-owned firearms are always in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimbar, Smith & Wesson, Sig Sauer, and Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
Hey folks, Hicken here. Now that your kids and grandkids have gone home and the decorations are coming down, I bet you can see it's time to get those carpets and sofas clean. I'm telling you, give Zero Res a try if you haven't already. They clean the carpets, the sofa, the chairs, the area rugs, and even the tile and grout. Google them. More than 5,000 five-star customer reviews. And right now, 20% off carpet cleanings, 20% off upholstery. Zero Res. You spell it forwards, you spell it backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Weekends were made for sports, and I'll tell you my take on this weekend's best options. Pick it here. Watch for Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan is brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
I was on the go. It was time to eat. I said, baby, grab a Danny, 'cause they can't be beat. She got something else when it was time to choose. And after just one bite, I got that soggy sandwich blues. Should've known better, only Danny will do. Got that hometown flavor creeping up on you. Yeah, she done me wrong. Didn't get my dandy. I need my ham and cheese.
That's all he wanted. That's all he wanted.
Should've known better, only Dandy will do. Got that hometown flavor creeping up on you. Yeah.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores!
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJacks.com.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
At Hidden Hills Golf Club, we truly love the game of golf. We invite you to book your next tee time here and enjoy a golfing experience that you might not find at other public facilities. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Frank Franzi here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason so many of my friends and our listeners have had Stanley Pools build their pools and now maintain their pools, because Stanley Pools truly cares about their customers. Stanley Pools is locally owned and has been serving our community for 35 years. For all of your pool needs, call Stanley Pools at 269-7277. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools. 269-7277, or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Little Blondie, not a big fan, but, okay. But I tell you what, the show The Deuce came out in 2017. It's really seedy. I like it. It's James Franco, who himself is seedy, right? And I do not support any of those ongoing allegations, but he plays, I don't know if he plays, I forget if he plays
Frankie
brothers.
Martino.
Okay, does he play brothers, twin brothers? He plays two characters in the show. But it's fascinating. It's back when,
Yes, Frankie and Vincent.
Times Square was it was the red light district. It's you go now, it's part of the tour trap. Everyone wants to go down there and spend $16 for an ice cold cocktail, whatever it may be, which I guess is cheap. And what does it cost now at the bank? What, $18 for a beer?
No comment.
Unbelievable, man. It's just nuts. But I really enjoyed this. It kind of took you back into the 70s and the way it was then.
So the guy who made this helped make The Wire.
Oh, yeah. And
one of my favorites.
Which is really interesting because I think The Wire, I think they stole that idea from the combat zone in Boston. The thinking in Boston with those magnificent politicians, what they said was crime's going to happen. Filth is going to happen. So let's take the prostitution and the drugs, and if you want to get a piece, meaning a gun or a knife or that, let's put it all together in a small little hood and keep all of the crime in a small little part of the city. Well, what happened is it became such a tourist attraction that people would visit Boston and they're like, I don't need to go see the Tea Party. No, I'm okay. I'll miss out on the USS Constitution. Faneuil Hall, Quincy. I'm good. Let's go to the combat zone. So that's where they would all go with the strippers and the peep shows and all that time. And until that kid, that white dude got murdered, the white football player at Harvard, in an incredible, in a city that I'm not proud of, but racially motivated for generations. You kill a white Harvard football player right there on the sidewalk in the combat zone. They knocked that damn thing down. Took a few years, but that was it. But I think The Wire stole that idea from Boston's combat zone. I can't imagine what it must have been like, though, in the old Times Square, because it was, 10 times the size of what you had in Boston. But some really good actresses here. Maggie Gyllenhaal is in it. She's kind of like a madam. James Franco's just out of it. I love this character actor. Her name is Margarita Laviva, and she's done a lot of good stuff. She's just awesome. What are these things that these yuppies do? I know we talked about it a month or so ago, where you have that one cheat that you're allowed.
Yes, if you could sleep with one
right.
person.
I mean, these really
it's
cool.
Always yeah, my girlfriend would let me sleep with Jennifer Aniston.
Right. No doubt. Meanwhile, he's working on his fourth marriage.
Yeah.
But they have that little agreement that somehow in Hollywood now. Hey, listen,
he's actually cheating on his wife with the fat lady at work.
Oh. Whoa, J.J. LaSelva. The agreement is in, though, that if, I told my husband that if you can get with Jennifer Aniston, have at it.
Yeah.
I love when these couples are, they're just so, they know what each other's thinking.
So is she yours?
Yeah, right, yes, that's it. Margarita Laviva.
Yeah, she's Russian.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe I should take that back because the Russian mob is fluent, I understand, in Palm Coast. Not nearly as fluid as it was in Chicago, which they were absolutely all over the place. But anyway, if you're looking for something, right, I mean, isn't this kind of like the, oh, my God, what am I going to do? It's the 29th day of January. We have one football game left, and then we have month after 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 month of no football. What am I going to do? I'll tell you what to do. Watch The Deuce. It's a great series. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think you will as well. Some really good character actors that you know from other things like Michael Rispoli, who was the original Don in Sopranos.
Yep.
Right? He's the one who dies, and then Tony takes over.
Anything on HBO is going to be probably good.
Yep.
There's a very high chance if it's an original HBO show, it's going to be good. By the way, last season of Curb starts on Sunday. Very excited. I don't know if you ever got into that.
What is it?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, I did way back when.
Yeah, it'll go 5 years without a season. But apparently this is the end.
Okay.
Larry's very old.
Chris Bauer's in it. You mentioned The Wire. He's the one that kind of headed up the episode with the cans. When they were the whole sex trade. when they were bringing, importing and exporting women. He's the guy who kind of headed up that whole, I don't know what you call him, the general manager or the on-site manager. If you see him, he's a guy that you absolutely will recognize. The name won't do anything for you, but he's one of those character actors that really is good. So anyway, I just recommend that. I think you'll like it. It's called The Deuce. I can't believe how much stuff I got here on Roman numerals. Not one person called me out on it. Everyone agrees with me. The 7777 says, "Hey Ballou, it's Super Bowl Swifty 8."
Oh,
so there you have it. Good stuff there.
I think that we just do the Roman numerals because they just started doing it, probably, and they're just like, whatever, we'll keep it going. They probably got to like Super Bowl 10, and they're like, it's a tradition now. X looks pretty cool. And now we just roll with it. Like, literally nothing else besides UFC counts. Like, keeps a count. No one's like, oh, it's World Series 142 this year. I'm pumped for that.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah, no, we
and you don't, it would make sense if you could, like, oh, I remember Super Bowl 32, and you could, like, instantly, but nobody does that. Nobody.
I remember Super Bowl one. Super Bowl one, I can tell you. That was Green Bay.
1 and 2 was Green Bay, right?
Right.
But
Max McGee was hung over.
And unless it's maybe your team winning it, I don't think anyone, remembers the number with the winner.
I could put any one of my Boston boys on the horn right now and say, for $10,000,
right?
Can you name one of the 6 Super Bowls that your Patriots won? Can you give it to me either by number or by Roman numeral?
Yeah, right.
And there's not a chance that any one of those knuckleheads would even come close.
Because it's unimportant.
Well, why do we have it?
I just think it's become a tradition at this point, and there's so much marketing behind it. Think about, they hire a whole team to create a logo with XXXV, whatever, I, or whatever it is this year. Like, that's a whole thing. They choose the color, and, like, oh, my God, the amount of money and time that they probably go into that is sickening.
Capitalism is fine. It is. And greed is fine, if you've earned it. But there are times my blood will boil. And the worst part of any of this, whoever thought you cannot say Super Bowl party? I mean, how absurd is that? And how did that get brought up? At what point were these crusty old owners are all sitting in a hotel conference room somewhere? Did someone say, oh, I got one for you here, guys. Let's prevent everyone in marketing, every restaurant, every sports bar, every radio station, every television station, everyone online on the internet. You are not allowed to say Super Bowl party. Hell, you're not even allowed to say the big game party.
Genius.
You can't.
I think that you can say it, you just can't make money. Like, if we were advertising a Super Bowl party where we are selling tickets, like a 1010XL Super Bowl party, here it's $20 to come watch the game, then I think we would get in trouble. But we're just allowed to say it, but yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, you can say it the way I said it.
Yeah, but you can't make money off of saying...
Right, I'm not saying where I'm going to be for the Super Bowl party.
Super Bowl.
Right. Now, if I come out and say, hey, I'm going to be at this place for a Super Bowl party, we can get in trouble here. We can.
It's crazy.
It is, but it's just... I mean, I'm all about working hard and making money. That I was going to say, that's why you go to school. That's why you work hard. Until I got this survey. 41% of the business owners in Jacksonville never went to college. Oh, my God. It's like bad parenting my entire life. It is so important that you do well in school and that you grab yourself an education. Okay. I guess. Really don't have an answer for you. Sammy Smith, ladies and gentlemen, the ultimate highs and the absolute worst of the lows. He's been through it all. The former Florida State Seminole, Miami Dolphins, got a brand new book that's out. He joins Rick Ballou next. We go into the night.
The Gators are here.
Got it to beat the Buzzards.
Florida basketball.
Chop this one up for the Gators.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL, Jacksonville's Gators station.
A new vehicle. Come to Key Buick GMC where we never have markups on our vehicles. In addition, Key Buick GMC is the only Buick GMC dealer with a lifetime powertrain warranty on all new Buicks and GMCs. It's a new year. Time to do some service checkups. Key has oil changes specials on most vehicles plus a tire match guarantee. Please check out our service specials at our website. Go to KeyBuickGMC.com. We're always professional grade on the corner of Southside and Gate. KeyBuickGMC.com.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Urology for common cancers of the prostate, bladder, and kidney. Early detection is key with 5 locations across Northeast Florida. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Local 234 Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and HVAC Technicians is now taking applications for their state-certified apprenticeship program. As an apprentice, you'll receive excellent benefits, higher pay, job placement, and even earn college credit. The 5-year programs include plumbing, pipe fitting, welding, and HVAC. A career as a journeyman means stability and security. For more information, visit ua234.com/apprenticeship. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Mike Dempsey here. Look, your fantasy football season might be over, but you can still win money playing fantasy sports on Underdog Fantasy with their Pick'em game. Just pick higher or lower on players' projected stats. They have a boatload of Pick'em contests to spice up the games. So act now and you can win up to 100 times your money if all your picks hit. Underdog is so easy to play, even easier to get started though. Just download their app, the Underdog Fantasy app in the App Store, or visit UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up using promo code 1010XL. Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. They even give you a special pickup higher than 1/2 total yards to use on your first pick'em entry to get you started in the right direction. Look, you know I love daily fantasy sports. It's why I play at Underdog Fantasy, and there's no better time to make money on the biggest football game of them all than right now. Sign up using promo code 1010XL. You do have to be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On January 29, 2012, American snowboarder Shaun White achieves the first ever Super Pipe perfect score in Winter X Games history.
After years of discomfort, it's like I'm alive again.
Sonia Hackett talks about how QC Kinetics changed her life.
QC Kinetics has given me my quality of life back.
Before QC Kinetics, Sonia suffered from horrible knee and back pain stemming from a car accident.
I was wearing knee braces just to try to maneuver around.
Sonia hated the idea of pain meds, and surgery seemed too risky, so she turned to the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics, the leaders in advanced regenerative medicine.
That consultation just changed my life. I can do the treadmill, everything. I don't have anything holding me back. The quality of life is pain-free. QC Kinetics has made us very happy.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today.
I'm going to get emotional again. They are like family members to me. They care.
Call QC Kinetics now.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
This is Hayes Carline here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish Revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Hey, Scarline here. Tired of missing out on the conversation due to hearing loss? At Jacksonville Hearing and Balance, their team of audiologists led by Dr. Douglas Green can help you rediscover the joy of connection. Visit jhbi.org today.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
All right, Sammy Smith had a Hall of Fame career at Florida State. I went to school with Sammy those same years. He was the BMOC, no doubt about it. First-round draft pick by the Dolphins, and then went on to play for the Denver Broncos. He's got a brand-new book that is out. It chronicles everything, the ultimate highs and, unfortunately, the lows for Sammy Smith. And the book is called My Name Is Not 18121-018. My number was given, but my name was redeemed. Sammy Smith joins Rick Ballou. Sammy, congratulations on putting this book together. I appreciate a few moments of your time.
Hey, Rick, thanks, man. I appreciate you inviting me to be on your show. Sorry I couldn't make it last Friday, but was really excited when I saw the message from you today inviting me. So thanks for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I'm looking forward to reading this. You know, just kind of take us through the whole process when you decided to sit down. I think it's Tim and Knox who wrote it with you, and how this all came about.
Well, Rick, I've known for some time that there was a book, inside of me, my journey, the ebbs and flows, man, the ups and downs. And I actually started writing about 15 years ago. And I hit a little writer's block, and I'm thankful that I did, because, when we do things in our time, and it's never the right timing, but when we allow God to move in our lives, and he added so much more that I would have had to share at this time that wouldn't have been there. So I was excited to get going again, and just kind of be able to give folks just a window into my journey. Everything's not there. There's so much more that I will add, hopefully on another book. But I got a chance to just kind of share some of my life. Again, the ups and downs. And the title of that book, My Name Is Not 18121. People probably wonder, what is that? But that was a Federal Bureau of Prisons number that was assigned to me as I went through a difficult chapter of my life. And so the book is designed to be encouraging, to uplift people, and to let folks know that, that may be enduring some difficult time, that there's hope on the other side of it if we'll just trust the process and allow ourselves to learn lessons that we may learn along the way that will make us better people.
Sammy Smith, our guest. Sammy, I can't imagine what it's like going to prison, being in prison, but I can't imagine what it must have been like for you to have the ultimate high, to be a superstar in college, to be a first-round draft pick, to have everything, and then all of a sudden it's lost. I can't imagine mentally and emotionally what that must have been like.
Well, when I look at it from my eyes and, my glass window, I can't imagine what it's like for people that not have had that opportunity to experience the things that I do and to go through that, so that they'll never know the other side of it, right? They'll never know how blessed they were to be able to, accomplish things like I did athletically. But on the other side of that, for me, I got a chance really to reflect on how I had those abilities, where they came from. They were given to me by God, and so that time was a difficult time, but it was a time that I think I used wisely to gain a perspective on really life, and to see what God had for me and the purpose that he had for my life. Although it was a difficult time, and a time that certainly if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't want to do it. But it's helped make me into the man that I am today, and I'm excited about sharing and impacting other people's lives. That's been like a mission of mine now. You know, I've been working with Fellowship of Christian Athletes for 12 years. I just did a 7-year stint with Ole Miss's football program, working as their character director and chaplain for the team and the coaches. And so I'm excited to be back home in Florida and continuing my mission with FCA Outdoors here for our youth in the state of Florida.
Well, it sounds like it's an incredible message. Now, your relationship with God, did you have that at Florida State? Did you have that in the NFL, or is this something that you discovered when you were behind bars?
Well, I always had a semblance of a relationship. You know, I grew up in the church. I always was in church with my family, but I didn't have a real experience with Jesus, man, until, you know, I had that episode in my life where, you know, I got an opportunity to really slow down and realize, you know, the impact that having and building the relationship with Christ could have on me, you know. And so I think that that's when it really got serious for me, and I really, you know, saw and felt how much I needed Jesus in my life, and I actually was able to discover my purpose. And my purpose was, of course, to be able to impact people and to share my journey. And at the end of the day, it was never about football, right? Football is just something that comes, it starts and it has a finish, right? Sports. But eternally is our soul, and, you know, where we'll be in, you know, the rest of our eternity. And so I'm excited, again, just to be able to share my journey and hopefully impact some lives along the way.
Yeah. All right. Last question for you, Sammy. Helping people feels great. I mean, it's a wonderful feeling to help someone. Scoring a big touchdown and all of that, the rush and the energy that must be like. Compare a huge touchdown like that to being able to get your message across to a youngster out there that is going through difficult times, and certainly you've been through them, but now you're able to kind of take them through it. What's that like?
Well, for me, Rick, it's no comparison. I'll give you one example, and this kid is from up in your area. I had my first fishing tournament when I got back here in May this year. I put on a tournament in August here in the Harris chain here where I live in Lake County, Florida, and I had about 46 teams that were here that compiled of, you know, 2 fishermen and a boat captain. So you're talking about, you know, close to 90 kids and another, you know, 40-some adults that we were able to impact and share our time with over that weekend and get to know folks. And I had a kid from up your way that I just kind of connected with. And, you know, we start just spending time talking, you know, a few times a week. He's come down and gone fishing with me. And then finally, he felt so comfortable just kind of unpacking some things that he was going through and some difficult things that he was dealing with in his life. And so I was able to see him get reinvigorated, right? And I was able to share my faith with him and for him to, you know, figure out what God has purpose for him. And, you know, he accepted Christ. And, man, you're talking about a win. Man, that's greater than any touchdown that I ever scored. It's just being able to have the opportunity to pour into a young man's life that hopefully will allow that to spill over to his peers and the people that are in his circle of influence, and just seeing his life change for the better, man, was incredible.
Powerful story. Sammy, tell us how to get the book, please.
Well, we've got a pre-order right now. It's not going to actually be officially released until August, and so it's on Amazon and all the bookstore outlets right now. But I actually have copies that you can go to my website, which is name.1812108.my.canva.site, and I have copies that you can purchase there. And, you know, if you want them signed, I'll sign it. Just kind of let me know in the notation, and then I'll mail it off to you.
Well, I'm going to get one. I want to read this story, Sammy, and I'm going to have you back on throughout the months as we get closer to the official release. But I'm looking forward to talking with you after I get an opportunity to read it. But really happy for you, really proud that you're putting this out there, Sammy, and I appreciate a few moments of your time.
Hey, well, go Noles, man. I actually got a few of our Seminoles that endorsed it for me. Of course, Coach Norvell and Charlie Ward and Warwick Dunn and Coach Gladden. And so I'm excited about it. And, again, just thankful that God put it on my heart to share it. The last 12 chapters are based around my last year with Ole Miss, around the chapel topics, the pregame topics that I shared with our football team. And so I just went a little more in depth in the message in the book. So I just hope it's impactful to the people that read it and that it offers them hope.
Appreciate it, Sammy. Again, I'm gonna read it, and we'll do it again as we get a little bit closer to the release date. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Rick.
There he goes, Sammy Smith. Good stuff. Looking forward to reading it. I usually don't, do hits with until I read the book. That's when I'm not talking, I'm listening, and when I'm not listening, I'm reading. I that's all I do is read. The older I get, the more I read. As opposed to Roman numerals that we were talking about earlier. But I do. I love reading, and I think the older we get, right? That's why the whole thing about being bored or boring, it's like that's impossible. I mean, there's so many things that I want to do. There's so many things that interest me. And it was Friday, JJ. We went to the library. They were like selling books. They have like these book sales like 2 or 3 times a year. It was like 10 to 2, so we get there at like 10:15. Figured I'd get in there early. Bro, you got people tailgating outside of the library. You got bonfires. You got people with barbecues. You got folks shotgunning beers to go in. I saw Vito Stellino in there, and we were talking about the bulky press conference. But it is. You're a huge reader too.
I am. One of the few. When people come into my apartment and they see books, they're like, wow, what are those? It's sad that it's become like a thing of the past, but we are constantly on our phones reading things. It might not be like, they show old videos or old photos from back in the day, and it's everybody sitting on a train,
reading a newspaper,
minding their own business, reading their newspaper. This is the same thing to me. I mean, there's a lot more inane BS on your phone than in a paper, but still, you're doing some sort of reading, I would hope.
But it's such a great hobby.
I love it, man. I wish more people. My mom forced me to read growing up, so that's why I still love it.
Okay, and I get that. And reading growing up became more like a chore.
Yes.
More like a punishment. You have to read. You have to read. Obviously, for this job, all we do is read.
Right.
Okay, but I'm talking about getting away from the gig. And every once in a while you hear me talk about, I was just talking about the Deuce here. And I've read all those books. I've read the books on the on Times Square.
Yeah, that's what people don't realize. Reading, when you read stuff you like, it's fun.
And it's so much better. You can't, I mean, outside of Jaws, and I read Peter Benchley's Jaws, and I got Mario Puzo, and I've got The Godfathers, and there's only a few that like someone said, hey, I saw Black Mass. The Whitey Bulger Black, what'd you think? And I was like, I honestly thought it sucked. They try to make Whitey Bulger kind of seem like, warm and fuzzy towards the end of it. Go read the book. Go read it. It's so much better. But I don't know what it is, trying to get that connection. I think once you get it and you understand it, no matter where you go or what you do, it's probably the greatest thing you can have if you are a reader.
You make your own movie in your mind.
Yeah.
By the way, Sammy, great interview. I love guys like that. Like when you do 7 years, that's a pretty long time. Like most people aren't coming out after 7 years and living a life like he is. It's most of the time they're institutionalized or they're going right back. They're living a life of crime on the street. Like it's very commendable. And I love hearing stories like that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this book. Again, you can go to his website, which is, just pull up Sammy Smith. It's SAMMIE, for those of you who are wondering. The name of the book is My Name Is Not 18121-018, which, as he said, that was his federal number when he was in prison. It's only $17.99, very affordable. Okay, and you can get that right now. But, I've spoken with Sammy over the years, kind of lost contact with him for a while. I've been able to reconnect, so I'm going to have Sammy on here and there because he's very, very good at what he does, just talking in general. I wanted to make this all about the book and hopefully some sales for his book, so I really didn't even have an opportunity to get in to any of those things that I wanted to talk to Sammy about, because just think about this for a moment. When I arrived on campus at Florida State, it was Dion and Sammy. What would it have cost, NIL-wise, to get Sammy Smith in 2024 on campus? I mean, he was a legitimate superstar at Florida State. And, again, he didn't have the same type of promotion and charisma and all about me, the cockiness of Dion. Dion got all the headlines, but Sammy Smith was right there as the number 2 guy during that time at Florida State. So again, the book is called My Name Is Not 18121-018. Sammy Smith. My number was given, but my name was redeemed. You can check that out. Brand new book that is out. Thank you for Sammy Smith joining us. All right, let's get ready for our second hour. I got a couple of things I want to throw out here. This one came a little bit earlier today. I was reading. All right, I find myself diving back to my hometown in Boston. Even though my divorce is still on with Boston sports, I still like to be connected as to what is going on. I saw that Jimmy Williams died today at the age of 80. He got the manager of the year for the Red Sox back in 1999. I'm not proud of this, but I'm also not going to run away from it. And I was reading about him. This is when I ran into this story that involved Belichick in Jacksonville. I'm going to get to that as we begin our next hour. But when I was doing national radio in Chicago from 2000 through 2006, that was during an era of sports radio where it was really caller intensive. And if you remember, longtime sports radio listeners, if you remember radio then, when I got here on the ball in the mid-'90s, and you come out and say 13 words and then let's go to the phone lines. That was that era. Well, I used to do something called the Jimmy of the Week, named after Jimmy Williams, and it would be the most ridiculous, absurd things that happened that week, either in sports or maybe it was off the field or off the court. And of course, there's always a litany of transgressions and things that happen. And I did it after Jimmy Williams because I thought he was the worst in-game manager that I ever remember for the Boston Red Sox until Bobby Valentine came around years later. And you got to put it in context. This was in the early 2000s. This was during the time that Boston hated everyone and everything because they hadn't won a World Series, right? And then it finally happened, a few years later with Grady Little or, Terry Francona. Obviously Grady left Pedro in 2003, and then Tim Wakefield, now the late Tim Wakefield, gave up that home run to Aaron Boone. But it all changed with Tim Wakefield, with Terry Francona. But anyway, so rest in peace. I mean, I could run and hide from it, but it was a big part of what I did for several years, including when he became the skipper in Houston. And I was on in Houston every night on AM 610, just like I was on in Boston every night. And those two audiences were very involved in the Jimmy of the Week. It was actually a pretty big hit during that style of radio during those particular years. Anyway, rest in peace, Jimmy Williams. I'm going to get to the other side of what I thought I saw, and then I was like, are you kidding me? It's already there. NBC Sports in Boston, already planting the seed, and we're not even into February yet when it comes to Belichick and the Jaguars. It's next.
Throughout history, significant numbers have made their mark on our minds. That includes sports and radio.
And this one's going to be 10-10.
10-10 XL.
Ballou here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Care you can see.
Buying a car can be stressful, especially one sold as is or with no warranty. Do the 7-10 or 30-day warranties leave you wondering what will happen on day 31?
Stop. Car buying doesn't need to be so stressful. Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet now offer the exclusive Beaver Certified program protecting your used car for 7 years or 100,000 miles. That's right, certified Hondas, Fords, Nissans, and any other make you consider now come with the peace of mind you deserve. Shop worry-free at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville.
JEA is dedicated to keeping your utility costs down, so we offer programs and solutions to help you use less and save more. From simple and easy tips that reduce usage to free in-home efficiency assessments that show you ways to be more energy and water efficient, and efficiency rebates that help you save on appliance upgrades. Because as your community-owned, not-for-profit utility, we're here to serve you, and only you. To learn more, visit JEA.com.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
How many MLB records does Pete Rose still hold?
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Pete Rose holds the Major League Baseball records for most hits, most at-bats, most games played, and is tied for most seasons with 200 or more hits.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match. Or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically, if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari at Bari Orthopedics.
Lower mortgage rates are here, and smart homeowners are wiping out all their credit card debt with help from Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Right now, Loan Pronto has a cash-out refinance rate of just 5.49%. You heard me. That's a huge drop. So you can get refinanced now, get cash out of your home's equity to wipe out all those credit cards and other high-interest loans. You can save hundreds every month with lower payments. Or, if you still have a mortgage rate in the threes, you can use Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit. Just get the cash you need and leave your primary mortgage intact. Loan Pronto can get you $50, $75, $100, even $200,000 in just a matter of days. Bottom line, Loan Pronto's got several options to help you erase debt and take control of your finances. Call today, and you can even skip your next two mortgage payments. Call Loan Pronto now at 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508, or loanpronto.com, 999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, 5.49%, has 6.39 APR, subject to lender approval.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances, that's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Put Lou Graham forward into the Hall of Fame, please, would you? Just do it. Hey, even the great ones rest on a Monday. That's the Blue Crab House. But do you realize that in just 2 days, Mardi Gras, all month long, at the Blue Crab House. Creole and Cajun entrees, like black and red fish, and creamy shrimp sauce. How about oysters Bienville? Shrimp étouffée, shrimp sausage gumbo. Let me say that one again. Shrimp sausage gumbo. All right? Creole fried catfish, you name it. It's the Blue Crab House. They change the menu up during certain times of the year, and they certainly do during February. It is Mardi Gras month, only at the Blue Crab House. Again, they rest today. They're back at it tomorrow. So we'll see you out there right off of San Jose on Jillington Creek Road. Getting a lot of good response here from listeners on Sammy Smith. I think everyone, not everyone, there's a lot of miserable people out there and a lot of bitter people out there, but I think for the most part, a good human being likes a redemption story, right? And, you know, I mean, I feel a little bit closer to it only because, and I guess in that point in my life, I was probably in awe of Sammy Smith. I mean, he ran the campus, right? He was and he had it all. But then to lose that and to get involved with cocaine and distributing of cocaine and just have everything collapse, feel really good about it. Tell you what else I feel really good about, JJ. I was given today from the sheriff here in town, my buddy TK Waters, this. Let me put it up here so the folks on YouTube can see it. It's, I don't know what you would call it. It's
a badge.
It's basically a badge. Yeah. It's like.
It's pretty official.
I mean.
It has like the seal of the city or the whatever you would call it.
A Jacksonville police sheriff dedication service honor community. The back is just incredible. I mean, it's got the beautiful blue water there, right? Cruising through Jacksonville. Let me see. I don't see the jail on there, but I see
the beautiful
I see
water.
some great stuff downtown. And I got with TK recently, and I said, you know, whenever we got to do it one night, I got to bring you in, and we got to sit around and kick it a little bit. T-Wig and I used to do that back in the day on Midday Chalk with TK. But
tell him I need one of those badges that I can flash next time I get caught going 66 miles an hour on Southside Boulevard.
Well, what do you do in this situation? I mean, you know, let's just say worst case scenario. Let's say And this
just
is
like, oh, I drop it accidentally out of your wallet while you're like getting your ID. Oh, sorry, I dropped this fake badge I have given to me by your boss, who I'm good friends with.
So, total hypothetical, because I absolutely do not drive when I drink. Case in point, we had an unbelievable round. My girlfriend wasn't feeling good. She was really up against it on Saturday. So we had a 1:15 tee time. I drove to Cimarron. We had 28 of us, 7 foursomes. It was an unbelievable birthday party. And let me tell you something right now. Cimarron, I'm going to keep on keeping on. You got to go check it out over there. And get to me, 641-1010 on the text line, about to a lifetime enclosures. You cannot believe the improvement of this golf course. But anyway, we got after it. Yeah, I just left my vehicle there and went and picked it up, on Sunday morning. But let's just, hypothetically speaking, let's take it like a worst case scenario. Let's say
I
was
got a beer between your legs.
Let's say I was to pull out of Glenn's Liquors and I'm just going sideways down South Side. Okay? And all of a sudden I hear the woo, and you get pulled over.
That's the worst.
What do you, if I've got this now, do I have it, right there by the, I mean.
As he walks up to your window, just have it showing. Don't worry, officer, I got it.
Do I have it
got
mounted?
It from here, sir.
Do I have it mounted on the,
Now, there is those things where if you're like a friend or related to a cop or something, have a card, that's like a paternal or a fraternal order of police or whatever it's called. I know people are going to text in about it, but there is a thing.
And I get it every year because I pay.
God, I'd be flashing that like crazy, man.
I always give that away. Because you put it on your.
That's gold.
You put it on, the back window.
And be like, hey, I give you money.
Well, it's really easy
to
part
of the deal.
Yeah, but you can get away with it. You can pay like $25.
Yeah,
it's really
25 more bucks than most people pay.
I'll give you my next one.
Please.
I'm not giving you this.
Oh my God.
I'm not giving you this badge.
Well, it's got your name on it.
Okay. What I got to figure out is where does this badge go on my key GMC Sierra truck, where everyone needs to know that, hey, I'm untouchable.
Maybe you
this
just
is what I have.
Wear it every day.
Like a chain? Have a chain put through?
Like those are the badass cops.
I love
the
them.
undercover ones.
You were talking about the guys from The Wire.
Yeah, they all wore it on chains.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was like the only reason if I was ever going to be a cop, my first thing was like, am I guaranteed to get to wear one of those chains with the badge that's right there between my chain?
When you're a traffic cop, you don't get that.
Yeah, well, anyway, this is really nice. Thank you to TK Water.
It looks official.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Quickly, speaking of our first responders, huge fire downtown.
Yeah.
Last night, up until the wee hours of the morning, that new, if you haven't heard, I'm sure you've seen it before, but right next to the baseball field, there's that new apartment complex being built that was supposed to open March 1st. It has like a rooftop bar, and it was just like fancy schmancy, as my mom says. Dude, it was like lit up like a Christmas tree last night for hours, and they're going to have to tear it down. Unfortunately, some of the local businesses next door, like Intuition Ale Works, has to close, like while they make it safe, I guess. I'm not sure.
Really?
Yeah. Sad, man.
That is sad.
As if downtown needed another gut punch.
Boy, they've been working on that for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
That's difficult to hear.
Imagine if you're supposed to move in, like, in a month.
No, that's not good. Boy, I wasn't aware of that until you told me.
Yeah, the videos are crazy.
I don't know how I missed it. I'm pretty in tune with things that are going on, but that is tragic. So
luckily,
they're gonna have to redo all
nobody's
of that.
hurt. It's an empty apartment complex, but
a few years back, it's probably like 8, 9, 10 years back. Didn't they have like a similar problem with that on San Jose, like right across from where the old Hooters is? There still is a Hooters there, but that little section of town, or maybe they just stopped building it. But it became really odd. They were like 3/4 of the way done constructing it.
Yeah, 2019.
And then something happened. They just stopped. They just completely stopped building.
San Jose condominiums.
Yeah. I guess that wasn't a fire. Anyway, hate that. No doubt about it. All right, I promised you the Belichick story. We're just a little bit long-winded here. That is coming up next, and that I do promise.
1010XL. Home of the Florida Gators.
Visit Monahan Jewelers now through Valentine's Day for savings on all GIA-certified diamonds and discounts store-wide up to 40% off. And interest-free financing on all purchases. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. Monahan's has it all. We're not a chain store. We're your local family jeweler since 1977 with a world-class inventory of fine jewelry and diamonds and gemstones available in any size. Support your local family jeweler now through Valentine's with huge savings on our inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
My friend named Chuck is a do-it-yourself nut. He tried to change his own toilet to save a buck, but he wasn't having much luck. The toilet wobbled and rocked and looked half-cocked. So Chuck pulled the toilet and tried it again. And that's when his wife walked in. Looking at the scene, she could clearly see a plumber Chuck was not meant to be. So she dialed 904-862-6769 to bring her and Chuck peace of mind. If you ever get stuck like Chuck, having no luck, call the Duck. Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services. 904-862-6769.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us. But for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks. But I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners. Always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows in $2.95.
There's something special about Napa Auto Care Centers. They're backed by the national power of Napa and a 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty. But more importantly, your Napa Auto Care Center is locally owned and operated by a strict written code of ethics. Put your vehicle in the hands of ASC-certified technicians you can trust. Find us at jacksnapaautocare.group.com. David Garrard Mondays on Jaguars Today are brought to you by Arlington Tire and Service Center and Monument Road Tire and Service.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On January 29, 2012, American snowboarder Shaun White achieves the first ever Super Pipe perfect score in Winter X Games history.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores!
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage too.
ClearwaterJacks.com.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Urology for common cancers of the prostate, bladder, and kidney. Early detection is key with 5 locations across Northeast Florida. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
If your resolution is to improve your golf game, you'll want to consider Hidden Hills Golf Club's annual range membership. One low price gives you 12 months of unlimited access to our Bermuda Grass Complex. Visit HiddenHillsGC.com.
Frank Franzi here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason so many of my friends and our listeners have had Stanley Pools build their pools and now maintain their pools because Stanley Pools truly cares about their customers. Stanley Pools is locally owned and has been serving our community for 35 years. For all of your pool needs, call Stanley Pools at 269-7277. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools. 269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com.
Hey folks, Hicken here. Now that your kids and grandkids have gone home and the decorations are coming down, I bet you can see it's time to get those carpets and sofas clean. I'm telling you, Give Zero Res a try if you haven't already. They clean the carpet, the sofa, the chairs, the area rugs, and even the tile and grout. Google them. More than 5,000 five-star customer reviews. And right now, 20% off carpet cleanings, 20% off upholstery. Zero Res. You spell it forwards, you spell it backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and I always tell you, hey, what's hot on the street, but what is hot on the water right now?
We've got some big news from Honda. They have a boat coming out, and much like they did with their jet, they went out and partnered with an industry leader in Scout Boats. He's making the hull for them, but everything else in the boat is all Honda.
So you're talking in the next handful of days and weeks, we will see Honda on the water at your showroom.
It'll be on the showroom, and it'll be ready to go.
So log on to cyclesofjacksonville.com. They are in the marine business with Honda. Keep track of it right there on Atlantic near Regency.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Never the off-season around here. You kidding me? Always something going on. Your Jacksonville Jaguars. A little bit slow today. That's okay. There will be news coming out in the very near future. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Outside of Mike McCarthy in Dallas, and perhaps you can say the same with Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia, the hot lists, the hot seat lists will start coming out during the offseason. And despite 9 and 8 years, Doug Peterson's firmly going to be on there for a variety of reasons. Okay? Yes, he's won. He's certainly won more than anyone else around here. When you look at winning records all time. Although I'll have to look at Coughlin. I think Coughlin might be 68 and 60 lifetime. I want to say Jack Del Rio has 68 career wins, but the winning percentage favors Coughlin over Del Rio. Anyway, there are reported issues with an ongoing rift in the front office. Trent Baalke last week absolutely flat out denied it, but that's kind of expected. That's the norm in these type of situations. Bill Belichick didn't get a job. Thought he would. Certainly Atlanta. I thought if Dallas or Philadelphia fired their coaches, he'd end up there. It appears he's not going to get a job. So what came out today, I'm reading NBC Sports Boston, which is, well, it's kind of tough to explain. There's a television show, television shows. There's obviously a lot of stuff online for their particular website. And
it's like their local ESPN.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to define it. And, a lot of guys that used to be in the Boston Globe or the Boston Herald or on local television or sports radio, whatever, many have navigated to this particular entity, which has become really popular. There in Massachusetts. Well, today they had a big article on, where will Belichick end up in 2025, and it listed 7 jobs. Okay, interesting enough, Dallas wasn't on there, which shocked me. But you had Philly, you had Buffalo, you had Cleveland, you had the New York Giants, you had Minnesota, and you had Tampa Bay. The third team they listed was Jacksonville. And everyone else, they're talking about this and this storyline. With Jacksonville, they just cut right to the chase. There's always been a feeling that perhaps Bill Belichick would like to go to a small media market. Enter Jacksonville. And there you go. So that was thrown out there a little bit earlier today. And I put it on Twitter, and I was like, all right, well, what do you make of this? I mean, I'm not giving up on Doug Peterson. I think Doug Peterson is still a really good coach. Doug Peterson beat Bill Belichick in a Super Bowl. Okay? I'm not done with him the way that many people in this town are done with, let's say, Baalke and Press Taylor. I'm not there with Doug Peterson. I am a little bit more concerned this offseason than I was last offseason, even though I think I said at the top of this segment there is no such thing as the offseason here in Duval. Anyway, I do feel differently. There was some miscommunication this year. There were some things that he did that really surprised me. And I don't need to go through them all. But I do feel a little bit different than I did a year ago. I still think he's the man for the job. Okay? I think there has to be perhaps a harder line as far as point A to point B, getting to point A to point B, a little bit more player-coach responsibility as opposed to we'll fix it. No, it's got to get fixed this year. But, worst case scenario, this team gets off to an awful start. What if it did completely get blown up? And I believe that is going to be a part of this year. If this thing goes south, the whole thing comes to an end, including Doug Peterson, including Trent Baalke. Now, I don't know that. I certainly felt that absolutely before the press conference with Trent Baalke the other day. I got out of that press conference the other day with Trent Baalke thinking this team could go 4-13, and he's going to find a way to hold on to his job. Okay, but that story we've gone through, and we'll certainly go through that again in time. That's not what we're getting at right now. But that's what we're looking at. If it's a really bad year, where are you in the world of blowing that whole thing up and then bringing in Bill Belichick? And it's going to be Bill Belichick at the age of 73. And Bill Belichick, who's 15 wins away from breaking the record of Don Shula. It almost seems pompous to say, nah, Jacksonville's good, go in a different direction, go for a younger coach, a guy that's got a little bit more fire in his belly, a guy who, whether he has experience, doesn't have experience, in what seems like such an overwhelming, hell yeah. The guy's won 6 Super Bowls, and he's been to many other Super Bowls. He didn't have a quarterback. He hasn't had a quarterback since Brady. Now, it's his own fault. He's actively been the general manager. We saw what happened around here when you have one guy doing two things. Coughlin calling the play, Coughlin making the decisions, and then coaching them. It got you to an unbelievable high and then also a crushing low both times, including the second time when he came back and he was, the eye in the sky, if you will. So what was so obvious as a yes, I don't know if it becomes so obvious at the age of 73. Where are you with this? Under the scenario that this thing is broken and Peterson and Baalke are gone, you go after him?
I love it. Hayes Carline was saying this offseason they should have gone after him.
I remember. Yeah.
I don't get the whole, he's really old, he's past his prime. I mean, he probably is past his prime, but I think he's still got some years left in him. I thought he did a pretty damn good job this year. I mean, that team had nothing. I think he's a terrible GM, so I'm separating the two. I'm saying as a coach, he did great. That team had nothing on offense. They fought like hell. They were, competing in pretty much all the games the second half of the season. I thought that he coached them up on defense. I think that's desperately what this team needs. Bring somebody in to call the plays, to work with Trevor.
Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, and that would be great. And have a guy who everyone respects, who can make sure everything's in order, everyone's communicating. Yeah, I think that would be amazing to have Belichick here for a few years.
Josh McDaniels has failed twice, miserably.
As a head coach.
Miserably. He's an outstanding offense coordinator.
Right.
I mean, there's no doubt about that. So it's, I feel like we're getting ahead of it just a little bit.
Yeah, here's the deal.
This is going to be brought up a lot this offseason.
But here's
Find me for saying offseason. I refuse to say offseason.
It's different than baseball or basketball. While, if your coach, if you start out bad, you can fire him, bring him in. Like Belichick, it's not like, even if you fire Peterson in week 3, it's unheard of to bring in a guy you know, from the outside to take over midseason. That does not happen in football. So, yeah, we're talking about something basically 2 years down the road.
It's something that never happens outside of what the Colts did last year.
Yeah, Jeff Saturday.
They got the guy off the ESPN set.
But that was an interim thing.
Yeah.
They were. I'm assuming they never thought about bringing him in full time.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Even though he needs the wins, Belichick's ego,
he wouldn't do
there's
that.
no way he'd come in midseason. He wants a camp. He wants
his own hires.
And here's the part, okay? Bill Belichick has done a really bad job drafting. Just go back and look at New England the last couple of years. He's been his own worst enemy. I got to believe he's going to want that type of responsibility no matter where he goes next, unless he's smart enough to understand, all right, let me go to a place that has a quarterback, let someone else ahead of me make the decisions. Hopefully the relationship is good enough where I can absolutely have more than an opinion on it, that, you know, he's still the decision maker, but Bill Belichick becomes the guy that adds and offers a tremendous amount in what the team should do in free agency and the draft, but he's not putting his actual touch on that final decision.
I actually think it was, I don't know if he did that on purpose in Atlanta, but the word on the street is that Atlanta didn't want to give him all of that power.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he didn't get hired. I think he dodged a bullet there. I think the Atlanta job is heinous. I think the quarterback situation sucks, and you're like right in the middle where you can't get a better guy in the draft, and you're not going to get a guy in free agency. So, like, that would have been bad for Belichick, I think, taking over Atlanta. I think he dodged a bullet there. And, yeah, imagine he sees a job opportunity after having to sit out a year where there's already a quarterback in place. He can easily pass the record in a couple years. And their only thing is, yeah, but you can't be the GM. I think that he would probably swallow his pride at that point and take the job.
All right, let's rank the jobs. And Dallas wasn't here. It's not on it, which is baffling because Dallas will come up. But anyway, just for the conversation, I'm probably going to put Jacksonville in number 3. I think, all right, here are the teams: Philly, Buffalo, Cleveland, the Giants, Minnesota, and Tampa. Buffalo has to be one. You got Josh Allen there. They're a playoff team every single year. He knows that division so well. He's faced him twice a year forever. That has to be the number 1 job. You agree or disagree?
If we're talking about to win, yes.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're a 73-year-old guy, you're thinking about your lifestyle and, like, where you want to live and stuff. But, yeah, if this is just on football decision, absolutely,
Yep.
I go Buffalo 1, probably the Eagles 2.
Yeah, I go Philly 2. And then you get to 3, and it's interesting. I mean, Cousins is out of Minnesota, but we don't know what Tampa's going to do. Do they keep Mayfield? New York is in a very similar situation that New England is in. They don't know what to do with Danny Dimes. Cleveland invested all of this in Deshaun Watson, got all this money invested in him, and several more years. Is that the place? And remember that Bill Belichick was a one-time coach for the Cleveland Browns. Bill Belichick's only playoff victory ever in Cleveland was when he beat Pete Carroll in the New England Patriots. I think Jacksonville is probably the 3rd best, maybe even the 2nd best shot.
I was about to say, if you're comparing at that point, you're just looking at quarterbacks. Hurts versus Trevor. To me, Trevor's always had a way bigger ceiling than Hurts. You know, I would expect about 90% of people who cover and follow the NFL would say Hurts is a better quarterback than Trevor right now. Can't argue with that. But to me, the ceiling is much higher for Trevor. And if you're Belichick, there's not even a close, like, who's the 4th out of all those quarterbacks? Deshaun, maybe?
Yeah.
Like, do you really want to risk that?
Uh-uh.
That's a mess over there.
And, you know, he's a smart dude, and he's immune to a lot of things, but they nailed it in the article. If you're Bill Belichick and you need 15 wins, would you rather deal with the day-in, day-out grind of Philadelphia or come here? And you know I'm always defending our colleagues and I'm always defending the media, but there isn't a comparison, and I'm not talking down myself and everyone else that I work with, but we're not Philadelphia, okay? There's not a pack full of contrarians here who are secretly hoping that Jacksonville loses because it improves their ratings or improves their subscriptions or clicks or whatever it is, okay? There's not. There's just not around here. And there are in Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. He's dealt with that. He wouldn't have to deal with that here. Again, but that may mean nothing to him. To him, it may just – see, everyone's going to be like the 15 more wins. I don't think that that's what it's all about for Bill Belichick. I think his ego is, give me 2 to 4 years, I want to win a Super Bowl. That's what I think it is. I want to win a Super Bowl without Tom Brady. I'm going to pick my job. The Atlanta thing didn't work out. Is that Dallas in a year? Is that Philly? Is that Buffalo in a year? Is it here in a year? I think he's going to want to go where there's a quarterback and where he believes he has that chance. I could be totally wrong. I just don't think the 15 wins is, hey, let's win them. It takes 2 years and I'm
Call
done.
it a day.
Yeah. I don't think that's it. I think that's part of it.
I agree with you.
But I think he wants to legitimately try to win a Super Bowl.
And while I'm doing it, I'll easily break the record.
So he's not going to go to the New York Giants. He's not going to go to the Minnesota Vikings. He's not going to take a job like that. He's going to go someplace where there's a quarterback. And that's how I feel. All right, final thoughts coming up with you tonight till 8. Hacker Nation will join you then.
The home of the home team you grew up with.
What a tremendous play by Fred Taylor. What an embarrassment for the Miami Dolphins.
1010XL.
Well, hello there. Join me at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino to celebrate a new era in gaming. With live craps, roulette, and sports betting now available to go along with the biggest selection of slots in South Florida. Plus, all your other favorite table games. Complement your night with my award-winning fine dining and casual fare options, lively bars and lounges. Or catch your favorite A-list entertainer at Hard Rock Live. Discover your rhythm today. Go to hardrockholly.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
Don't ignore plumbing leaks. They can lead to mold and mildew or structural damage and drain your wallet. So when you have a leak and can't wait a week, call Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Hey, Matt Hayes here. You know, battling a sinus infection for the past few weeks has been no picnic, especially when trying to stick to a weight loss program. Here's the funny thing. With Awaken 180, the trick to losing weight is actually eating. Now, when you're under the weather and have zero appetite, keeping up with a diet plan sounds like climbing Mount Everest, right? But here's the kicker. Even though I wasn't feeling hungry, I didn't gain a pound. In fact, I'm now 36 pounds lighter, all thanks to my coach, Krista. Without her guidance, I probably would have thrown in the towel and watched those pounds creep back on. The Awaken 180 coaches have seen it all and helped over 21,000 others get through every imaginable scenario. So if you're tired of going solo and want a coach, a friend really, in your corner, stop trying to wing it. Call the experts at Awaken 180 Weight Loss, 844-346-1800, or check them out at awaken180weightloss.com. Trust me, it's a game changer. 844-346-1800 at awaken180weightloss.com.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
I'm Hacker. Get more Gators on the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Wednesday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL Florida Gator Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or TuneIn.
The Bulls are back in town and taking over Jacksonville. Get ready for bull-bucking mayhem at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 23rd and 24th. U.S. Border Patrol PBR Jacksonville is bringing the city 2 nights of bull riding action, featuring the most electric 8 seconds in sports. Come see the toughest sport on dirt at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 23rd and 24th. Get your tickets today at PBR.com or Ticketmaster.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From roll and lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Lauren Brooks here from Mayport CNC Fisheries. Want the freshest seafood in town? From mahi to tuna to scallops to oysters. Mayport CNC Fisheries is in Atlantic Beach. Do what I did. Go enjoy Mayport CNC Fisheries.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, today's takeaways, brought to you by Key Buick GMC, where our family dealership has been helping families buy vehicles for over 50 years.
All right, a few days left. All those January incentives, simply outstanding over at Key Buick GMC. Right across the street from Tinseltown, Southside and Gate. Love my Key GMC Sierra truck and the GF, the Buick Enclave, which she got from Key as well. 24s all over the place, 23s that are still new as well. So say hello to Derek out there, Brian out there. Brian's a real happy Michigan national champion. Probably down a little bit on the Lions after what happened yesterday. But anyway, and they'll have brand new incentives in February. I'll start giving those to you coming up here a little bit later on this week. I tell you what I want to do today. I want to go back to our interview, the conversation we had with Sammy Smith. If you missed it, you can get it by going and listening to our show on demand on our website. But I'm going to get Sammy back on. I do want you to get an opportunity, though, to pre-order his book. He's got some copies before the official release, and it's a story of redemption, all right? The ultimate high and then the ultimate low. Sammy Smith, man, star, 9th pick in the draft, went to the Miami Dolphins, had a problem fumbling the football, but he had the millions of dollars and everything came crashing. Distributing cocaine, went to federal prison. And the name of his book is My Name Is Not 18121-018, which is the number he was given, as he said, the federal number he was given when he was an inmate. He said, my name is not that, and my number was given, but my name was redeemed. It's Sammy Smith, writing it with New York Times best-selling author Tim Enochs. So you can get that by just Google Sammy Smith book, and it'll come up. It's Sammie, Sammy Smith, and I'm going to order it. I'm going to read this as well, and then we'll have Sammy back on to talk about it. But I really enjoyed that interview with him earlier, and I do appreciate it. Again, you can check out his new book. My name is not 18121-018. My number was given, but my name was redeemed. A book out by former Florida State Seminole and Miami Dolphin, Sammy Smith.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Tire Outlet is now hiring. Visit TireOutlet.com/careers. Equal opportunity employer.
Packer Nation is in. Let's kick off another week.
Yeah, well, we've got a Super Bowl matchup. Boy, if you're in Baltimore or Detroit today, both of them, who feels more sick to their stomach, Raven fans or Lion fans?
I got to say Lions when you blow a 17-point lead like that.
Probably both, but I would probably agree Detroit. I mean, if you're Baltimore, to lose a home game when the Chiefs don't score in the second half,
I know.
That's got to be bitter too. But I love Dan Campbell. I love everything about Dan Campbell. It was indefensible last night. This whole analytics thing and the gambling man and fourth down and macho and just all this nonsense, how you don't kick at least one of those field goals just absolutely blows my mind.
He made the right decision before half.
Yeah.
He took the 3 points.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thought they were safe. I thought they would be fine. Brock Purdy, man, every drive in the second half he scored. The guy was 13 of 16 in the second half. I think 165, a touchdown, but he also got it done with his legs. And it was a phenomenal come-from-behind victory. But, yeah, that's going to be very difficult. The thing that Baltimore that got me, they were so undisciplined.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some really untimely penalties. It just crushed them in that game.
I had buddies texting me, NFL and Taylor Swift conspiracy. And I'm all for a good conspiracy theory. You know, get the Swifties to watch the Super Bowl as if you need more ratings there. But those Raven penalties were penalties yesterday. I mean, my man, the defensive tackle, punched Mahomes in the face when Ultimate Warrior clothesline on him, WWF style. I mean, Zay Flowers, you catch the ball, you get up, you flex, you stare at your opponent, and you spin the ball next to him. That is taunting. Whether you like the rule or not, that is absolutely taunting. Clowney decides to kill Mahomes after he threw the ball. That's indefensible. And Van Noy wants to give Travis Kelce a headbutt. Yeah. Those were all penalties.
The taunting, just everything.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know.
Do you blame John Harbaugh for that, or is that the player's fault?
You know, if it's interesting how that Mike McCarthy would have gotten blamed for it.
Of course.
Okay. I wonder if Doug Peterson gets blamed for it. I think coaches, if Carroll was still around, or Belichick, or in this case Harbaugh, Andy Reid, I almost feel like they have crossed the line where they're going to say, hey, listen, that's firmly on the players.
Right.
They have to know that you cannot do things like that. But it's so subjective. I mean, we could argue that up and down. I mean, there's no doubt. If that had been, you know, I'm trying to think of some really bad coaches that
Arthur Smith in
Atlanta. Okay, yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
We're not even going to talk about it. But if that's Mike Vrabel, people are going to be like, Vrabel played the game. He was a tough guy. That's on the players. They have to know that you cannot do.
Certainly a perception issue when it comes to coaches. And then you talk about the game itself. I'll get there hopefully in 13 days, Rick. Obviously, that's the goal, is to get there and get fired up. But I was really looking forward to Kansas City, Detroit. And for San Francisco to come in and steal it last night, I'm not sure if Kansas City, San Francisco does as much for me as Kansas City, Detroit would
Really?
have.
I think it's going to be fascinating. I mean, Mahomes is entering Brady territory.
No, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, he is. And what I think is different, I mean, remember, Brady, they all left. I mean, there's some Hall of Famers, Ty Law, and, you know, Gronk will become a Hall of Richard Seymour, they got rid of way too soon. But they all left. And a lot of people believe that if Kansas City wins, Andy Reid's gone, Kelsey's gone.
Does Mahomes need to get 7, though, to get in the Brady territory?
Nah.
So that's just a number for you?
No, I think if he gets 4, he's right up there, second greatest of all time.
Yeah.
You know, and even if he got 5, you could still say Mahomes. I mean, you look at what Mahomes has done, and, you know, I'm not a big fan of, even though I mentioned I'm not a huge fan of that whole, you know, Michael Jordan, LeBron, and all this, but that kind of seems to be where we're at. I think he's already entering top 5 all time.
I mean, he's tied for 3rd in all-time postseason wins. Travis Kelce passes Jerry Rice yesterday in all-time postseason receptions. absolutely insane what the Chiefs are doing.
Yeah, and what's so different is that it's all Mahomes. I mean, you look at Terry Bradshaw won 4, but, man, it's the steel curtain defense. It's 1,000-yard backs with Franco Harris. It's 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers. It's Hall of Famers on that offensive line. You know, it feels like it's Brady and Manning and in Montana. And, is Mahomes already number 4 on that list? I don't know.
It's Mahomes to Kelsey more potent than Brady to Gronk ever was at this point.
Right now, statistically speaking, it is.
A lot of comparisons.
The only thing they're lacking is Super Bowl wins. Yeah. The individual numbers are up. All right, what else tonight?
Yeah, obviously a lot on the Super Bowl matchup. Monday Night Coaching, we'll have Dave Campo joining us, and Matt Verderam of SI is going to join us from Mobile. Senior Bowl going on right now. We'll obviously preview the Super Bowl and do a little Jaguar late-season collapse talk as well.
I was reading about the Senior Bowl earlier today and talking about it, but they're thinking they could be as many as 14 first-round picks at this year's Senior Bowl.
Talking to Matt, who just landed this afternoon when I had a conversation with him, it's a loaded Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Loaded.
Including quarterback.
Yeah.
So
Bo Nix is there. Michael Penix is there. It should be a lot of fun.
All right, have a good show.
Thanks, Rick.
It's going to do it. Thank you to Sammy Smith. Appreciate him tonight. Appreciate you. Tremendous stuff from you on the text line, which I do not check now that the show is over. You can always get me. I'm always available. I'm always on call. 641. I'm always on call on X or on Twitter. That is Ballou 1010 XL. Tomorrow night, we're on after Helmets and Heels. The rest of the week, 6 to 8. Right here on your home of the Jags.
This is 1010XL. I had a dream to bring